Make it happen. Yep. We're doing the whole character.
So Tracy's question, Michelle, was what is one thing our audience could do to find their code?
I'm going to there's a link that you guys will post for them in the chat or somewhere, and they can crack their code and get a complimentary report all about them. And I suggest cracking the codes of your family and friends too, because it's eye-opening. And this methodology and system literally saved my relationship with my oldest son. And if it weren't for this, I don't know where we'd be right now, but we have the best relationship ever. And I can't believe how good it is because we now understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming you work with many different professions and roles.
Welcome everybody to the Connect Show. We're so glad to see you today and excited to bring you a brand new episode of the Connect Show with Jon and Tracy. And we have the spinny seats today, and we're doing a lot of that, aren't we?
We're both spinning.
We are. We're kind of.
We must be very comfortable.
Yeah, we're kind of grooving. Super excited to be here and looking forward to sharing this hour with you. And we're going to spin the whole time.
No, you got to stop spinning. It's probably going to make everybody crazy.
It's making me seasick. Okay.
So we're very happy to have you all here for this amazing show today. For those of you that are new, the Connect Show is here to help you succeed in your business through experts like our guests today, and we're learning all about IT today. So put on your IT thinking caps. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. And if you have any guests or any topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at theideas@theconnectshow.com.
The Connect Show is brought to you by Connect Media Live, and you can see our big banner that we have back there. That's our parent company, and we provide digital marketing solutions for your business. Think of us as your digital marketing supply chain, web development, social media management, and video production.
And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Expansive Workplace, where we are at right now. We broadcast from here most of the time, sometimes in the big room in the front, sometimes at trade shows and festivals. So if you guys know of any trade shows or festivals coming up that you'd like to have broadcasted, please contact us. Maybe we can figure something out for that.
Yeah, Expansive is really nice. I've been to a whole bunch of workspaces this last couple of weeks, and I've been to some big city premier workspaces, like the most expensive ones in the fanciest neighborhoods. And Expansive is really one of the nicest. And they all have nice offices and nice doors and nice decor. But I think what makes Expansive different that we're so fortunate to have here is all the space that we have. Mm-hmm. You walk in and there's that huge atrium, and there's just a lot of people and a lot of energy. And as a solopreneur, person who works, a lot of times I have to work alone, having somebody to just talk about baseball or, basketball. I don't really talk about that, but I do just to keep it fun.
The water cooler conversation
water cooler,
at literally
yes.
The water cooler.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
So I'd like to turn it over to Mitch and tell us about our guests today.
Awesome. Jon, Tracy, thanks so much. You guys were talking about the water cooler. I also like to call it now the coffee station because I'm a little addicted to coffee. It's a little bit where I get some of my energy, but I think some of it's natural as well. So excited to be here again with the Connect Show. And it is June, so that means it's Technology Month. And today it's technology to drive your business. Couple of great guests today. And as always, I look at their bio, I put together what I think is important, and then they come on the show and they actually tell you what's important. Because I have no idea, but I just like to extrapolate what I can from their bios. First up, Shannon Bose is here today, and Shannon and her experienced and professional team at Breakthrough Business Advisors are able to help you find the right strategic solution for your small business, including legal services, payment processing, consulting, and more. And that all sounds really impressive and really great. But what's really great and impressive is that it's been a doozy of a June for her so far. She became an Amazon #1 best-selling author on her first venture. And while she'll tell you it's a book that she co-authored, so most of the credit goes elsewhere, we all know the truth. It's Shannon's show, baby. Shannon, we can't wait. All right. It was, it's all partnerships these days, right? And connections. Yeah. Also joining us today is Doug Williams. Doug's an account executive with One Click Inc. He helps businesses grow, maintain good technology budgets by providing them with options within their budget, which I know is really important for all of us. Some of us even have no idea what our budgets are. But then we talk to Doug and then we realize we need a budget, and then we make budgets. They provide VoIP, voice over IP phone services, IT system services, web hosting, site creation, SEO, and business marketing. And I know Doug is also very invested in real estate and home remodeling and stuff like that, and how to do that within a budget as well. So Doug's going to come over and check out my basement after the show to make sure we're doing it within a budget conscious project. So Jon and Tracy, those are our great guests today. Shannon Bose and Doug Williams. Can't wait to hear more.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch.
Yeah. So before we get started, if you're in the Zoom, share your information in the chat, put your LinkedIn profile, and add what an ideal client would be. And of course, please like and subscribe if you're on podcast, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebooks, and be sure to join us on Zoom to join the conversation.
And we do want to talk a little bit about the show. So the Connect Show's growing. We have Mitch now doing our guest hype part. We're doing pretty good with getting our guests. We've got some great cameraman. We've got Kim, our I want to say weather girl because that's what she reminds me of. She's our networking and marketing girl and also runs our Zoom, but we are looking for more volunteers to help out with the show. So if you are excited about show business and want to get involved, please contact us. We have plenty of room for more people. So that's my little plug for that.
That is fantastic. With the two of the leading IT professionals in the area joining us today, Tracy, how do you feel about IT and how comfortable are you with it?
I love IT, except for I have to tell you, I'm a website designer and I love all the aspects about the design part. What really gets me though is the hosting, like telling everything where to go, and the email connections. That makes me crazy. I'll figure it out eventually, only after a couple of errors and downtime. But yeah, that IT thing, that's a skill. That is definitely a skill. But for most of it, I really like it. How about you?
Well, I feel the same way. That's why I don't make websites anymore. Because, programming all of the DNSs and the subnets, we had a little enjoyment with that before the show, where just one piece decided, I don't really want to talk to the rest of you guys. And it was a pretty important piece. So we needed it. And the idea of it, like when those numbers went wrong, and it didn't show up and it wasn't talking to everybody, it made my bones hurt because it bothers me that bad. So
but we're both like in the creative field, so like we want to do the creative, we want the stuff to come out, but it's all that stuff that goes all the way back to those first core functions that neither one of us, I don't think we really like.
No, we were talking yesterday on a drive, and we're talking about pushing paint, and I'm not a painter, but I like to sit down. It's kind of a family thing, and we just paint, and you put paint on the canvas and you push paint. And I like to do that, whether it's paint or whether it's video or, Photoshop or photography, I like to push paint. I don't like to program, set up the program to push the paint. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's what we're on the creative side.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
And talking about technology, our quote of the day is there is only one constant in technology, and that is change. And that's by Mark Benioff. And that is a fitting quote for the day to get us started on our conversation.
Next is vitamins for the soul.
It is vitamins for the soul. So
You can't see who's in our audience, but I can.
right. And that's why you're driving. It says my name, but it should be your name on there.
Did I log into the wrong one? No.
I have no idea.
Okay, so we have Jessica Dragon in our audience. Jessica, do you want to participate and let us know about what your love-hate relationship is with IT?
That's a good question. Well, I am completely in business because of online and websites and all that stuff. If there was none of that, I would never be in business. However, I'm finding further in my journey, I'm running into hiccups. And right now, the frustration, literally before this, I was on customer service with Microsoft Teams, and I'm trying to get that to work.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Microsoft myself. It's not one of my favorite tools.
I hear that. That's what I'm hearing. I think I'm learning why.
Oh, I guess there's a reason for that. We have Tom and Luke, but both their cameras are off, so I'm not sure if they want to participate.
Well, I think what would be good is if we bring up Kim, and during her networking report, she can tell us a little bit about technology and her relationship with that.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. So Connect Media Live, like I said, is our parent company, and that's the video production, social media, and web development that we provide for companies. And with that, Kim, what do you think about technology, and what is your love-hate relationship with it?
I absolutely love technology. I'm all about technology, but technology kind of runs my life a little bit. So it runs and ruins my life, right? So when something that you automate breaks, kind of ruins everything, right? But if you can get it to work right for you, then there is something to be said about that. So automating as much as I possibly can so that I can be more productive is my goal. Is that helpful with the technology question? I guess.
Yes.
So we're off to networking report, right? So today I'm going to just basically cover same things I did last week, but I'm super, super, super excited. Today we have our in-person networking event with Small Business Milwaukee. We haven't gotten together since winter as a group. So tonight at El Beso in Greenfield at 4 p.m., we will meet, and I will link to this in the chat as soon as I get back over to my spot. And it's just a great group of people getting together, having dinner, having some great conversations, and it's always a good time. We have a great group of people that generally join us. And then another shameless plug, Expansive, right here in Wauwatosa on June 22nd. 10 a.m. we are having a company picnic. We talked about oh, look at this, we've got something awesome on there. Hey, so as small business owners, we don't generally have a place to go to have a company picnic or be able to collaborate with other small business owners or just have that larger company feel. So Jon is going to smoke some pork butts. We're asking if anyone would like to bring a side dish of some sort to pass along to our friends. And we're going to have a good old potluck, have some fun, maybe play some games, and make June 22nd at 10 a.m. an amazing day. So come tonight, come on the 22nd. And then every Friday, we have our Connect Mastermind event. at 10 a.m. And this is a Zoom event. So anyone across the world is welcome to join. We've had people join from Poland. So it's really great opportunity to mastermind with one another. And right now, this month, we're talking about technology. So it's very fitting with this month's theme. And that's what I've got for today. Ready?
Rock on. I love it. Okay, wrong button. There we go. So,
Up one, up one.
okay. Using her experience as a former and current business owner, personal banker, business banker, financial advisor, payment processing, fintech specialist, Shannon is a small business advocate. Her company, Breakthrough Business Advisors, LLC, reviews opportunities to cut costs and increase efficiencies and help your business thrive.
BBA has strategic partners to refer to as well. They also help businesses attract and retain employees through the use of added benefits that there are no costs to the employer, like group rates for Legal Shield or supplemental insurances. Shannon is also a public speaker and Amazon #1 best-selling author.
That's a new development,
Very new,
isn't
very
it?
new.
Brand new
All right.
business
Woo, woo.
advocate.
Yeah. That's awesome. So welcome, Shannon. What is your relationship, love-hate relationship with IT and technology?
Oh, I have too many stories for that.
Mhm.
I deal a lot with point of sale systems. And with point of sale systems, there's two different ways to do it. There's a proprietary way, so they all work with only one processor. And then there's an agnostic way where you can work with two different processors or several different processors. And the problem then is gateways that we have to use. The gateways, all or most of them, have a fee, and then they connect to the virtual term, to the point of sale system to get the information to the processor. So, when you add a bunch of different pieces to the puzzle, there's always the risk for problems.
So you talked about the gateway of financial transactions. Do you do anything in crypto? Because I have a crypto question for you.
Okay, so do I have the ability to do crypto? Yes. Do I know anything about it? Much? Well, it's teeny tiny. I'm not the answer girl for crypto.
Oh yeah, there's a particular technology, Ripple and Lumens, Stellar Lumens, and it's in the financial transaction space. And so I'm just always wondering the insight of, is it catching on? Are people using it?
I do know that 3 years ago, maybe a little less, the world's largest processor that I represented at the time added to their terminology in all of their terms and conditions that if they're your processor for everything. And they did that specifically to include things, how, a lot of people were using Venmo instead of credit card payment, or they were using crypto, or they were using different methods of payment. And of course, the payment processing industry doesn't want to miss out on that. So they made sure that if you're going to take payment in any way, shape, or form, they wanted a piece of it.
That's gotta get your cut. I'm watching mob movies, so I believe in getting your cut. That's a good thing. So what are the benefits to using an agnostic point of sale over a proprietary?
Well, so that's part of what I was talking about with those point of sales is when you use a proprietary point of sale, you are limited to using only that one processor, which is great if your rep is me, right? But if you have a rep that never answers their phone and doesn't come and help you when they need to, and you don't want to work with that rep anymore, well, now you're stuck, and your only way out is to replace that equipment with a different type of equipment. So the other flip side of that is I'm a independent rep, right? So I have several different processors that I can use. And because of that, I get to control the pricing quite a bit. But when there's a like a buyout situation, I worked for one company that got bought out by another, that got bought out by another. And when that happened, they added $125 fee for PCI noncompliance. And then they added a 45 basis point increase across the board for everybody processing less than 2 million a year. Well, most of my book is less than 2 million a year. Yeah, I have the big guys, but the majority is less than 2 million a year. They did not let me opt out of that. So they were adding to their cost more than what I was charging them to begin with. So I had to move all of those people, which, you know, they were all willing except for one because they didn't want change, and we understand nobody wants change. But because of me being an independent and me being able to represent more than one company, I had the ability to move them, stay their rep, stay their advocate, that kind of thing. So, you know, it worked out well.
That's
It
nice
does.
that's nice for the client.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
it
the
does
flip
look helpful.
side, the flip side is the agnostic part, the question you were asking. So I have a point of sale that's agnostic, which means you can use any processor you want. The difference is with the proprietary one, they give you free equipment because they know you're stuck with them. With the agnostic, you're buying that equipment, but now it's yours and you can process with anybody you want to. Now you can force the processors to stay competitive. So it gives you the edge as the owner.
Yeah. Is there anything that we as business owners can do to cut our costs to process?
Well, there's a couple different things. One, you'll notice the big fad now is everybody is advertising free processing, right? You know it's not free. What it is they're just not charging the merchant the processing, they're charging the customer. So everybody has the ability to do that where you charge the customer. I, in the past, because I've been able to do it for over a decade, I always said that it was a bad business model. You know, you don't want to make the customer mad at the register. And they walk out the door with the bad taste in their mouth instead of that, you know, happy experience. However, COVID kind of changed things. And people are now understanding the plight of the small business owner, and people are doing this cash discount and surcharge, and it's going over well. So that's one way to cut costs, is if they do want to do the cash discount and surcharge, it is being better received. The other way is to talk to somebody like me that can review their processing. And I know it's such a crummy industry, and it's difficult to know who to trust and what to believe and all that stuff. And you don't want to show a statement because you don't want them to just beat what you have and not do better. And I get it, but you have to find somebody that you can trust that can break it down and show you what you're paying, where, and how they can make it better.
Yeah, you have to focus on somebody to help you, to guide you in those, because there's a lot of different choices out there for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And contracts.
Yeah. So what kind of questions should we be asking when we're considering finding a payment processor and finding someone that we can trust to handle that transaction?
Yeah. Well, part of it, the contract piece is important. So a lot of times they'll say, you know, no contract. Well, great, there's no contract, but now you picked a point of sale system that you have to get equipment for, that you're going to be tied to a contract for that point of sale equipment, and people don't put two and two together. If you're stuck with that equipment, you're probably stuck with that processor, you know? So they're telling you that you're not in a contract with them, but you kind of are, that kind of thing. What else? Questions that they should ask is any other fees, or have them explain the fees that come out. Because as an example, when I got into the industry, I went with the one company that said that they were the good guys and everybody else was bad guys because we only do interchange and plus, and we don't have any of those, you know, statement fees or batch fees and, you know, all these little fees that everybody else charged. Well, they made it sound like they weren't charging them, but they were, and they were bundling it and putting it in the interchange and hiding it and calling themselves the good guys. And it took me 8 months because, you know, being a former banker, financial advisor, I'm a numbers girl. It took me 8 months to figure out that they weren't the good guys that they pretended to be.
Yeah, if it seems too good to be true, it could be.
A lot of
Too
times.
good to be true. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. Do you have a offer?
Yeah, tell us about your book.
Yes.
Let's move on to the book, because
Let's
that's
do the
pretty
book.
exciting.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, so ironically, the book had
The book that she that is all about her. according to Mitch.
It is so not all about me. And I was the last author to join, so I don't know where. That was funny the way Mitch introduced me. But I am right here. See? I don't know where the
Nice.
camera
Yeah.
is, but
Mhm.
and it's Limitless Women. So Christy Ruffino has a book series called Overcoming Mediocrity. This was the 11th book in the series.
Go on.
So there's a whole bunch of authors. I'm near the back, and I did bring one for Tracy and signed it. So you have
nice.
a #1 bestselling
Thank
author
you,
signed
thank
book.
Yeah, you can borrow it if you like.
I do.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, I have more in my
He's gonna
car.
borrow. He's gonna borrow.
I have more in my car.
You might need to
Oh,
give him a
that's-
signed copy also.
I know Mitch said he was married to a limitless woman, so he wanted one as well.
That
Nice.
is a fantastic. So, there's a lot of people who would like to write a book, and it's on their to-do list.
Yeah.
When you were approached with this, were you, I'm going to do it, or did you have fear?
No, I've always wanted to write a book, partly because people would always tell me my life is a crazy whirlwind of testimony. And they were like, people would always say, you need to write a book, I took off with the carnival for a year, and I drove a semi over the road for 6 years, and I saw a lot of things, and I just lived this wild life. So I knew I wanted to write a book, and I was at a mastermind event by Jen Kolfel in Chicago. And that's where I met Christy Ruffino, who said she had one of her authors back out and she needed one more author for this book. So I said,
Yeah.
So now that I did this, I wrote this thing in a couple of hours and felt like I just wanted to write the whole book because it was really hard to fit into that space. Like I went over the number of words I was supposed to write because I couldn't.
You might need to write yourself a biography.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to do a whole thing, but who really cares about? I don't know. Well,
There are people out there that can benefit from your story. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing, because like this was talking about overcoming mediocrity and becoming a limitless woman. So to me, what I wrote in there was all the junk that happened to me in my lifetime, and how there was a transition point where everything just worked out and I learned so much, and I kind of gave them some tools and some mindsets. I have a mantra that I made up for myself: what you think about, you bring about; what you focus on, you magnify. So focus on whatsoever is good and true and pure and noble and of good report. If there's anything praiseworthy, focus on these things.
How did you remember all that?
That's a lot.
Well, half of it's a scripture. Half of it's a scripture verse, and the other half is that little, what you think about, you bring about; what you focus on, you magnify.
I love it.
That's so positive.
Yeah, that is. That's a really good saying. If you have an opportunity, when we post this on Facebook, LinkedIn, if you could put your mantra in the comments, that would be great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
So what do you have that you would like to share with our guests today? Any types of events coming up, opportunities for them to reach out to you with, or anything like that?
The podcast for Limitless Women is going to be the one the episode that I'm on is going to be on the 8th.
Okay.
And I'll get you a link for that. I'm in a whole bunch of networking groups. That's part of how I know so many of you is from networking groups. I don't know if I can't really think to list all of them, but I can list a few if you're thinking.
Yeah. Breakfast. The breakfast
Milwaukee
one.
Breakfast
Yeah.
Club. Yeah. Sparks on Thursday morning. I have one in East Troy on Monday morning, every other Monday. And Bob with Kim, Business Over Breakfast, is the opposite every other Monday morning. And I go to Big, which is Business Introduction Group. And they have 2 groups, a Tuesday and a Thursday. And they're both at Stonefire Pizza, which is an awesome venue because you just pay, $9 to get in. Yeah.
A great lineup of food there.
Yeah. And you have a whole huge private room. So it's a great venue for.
Yeah.
Is that the place with the video games?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you ever have any tournaments? No? Okay.
No. I used to go there a lot with my son, though. I used to take my son there a lot. The other thing that I brought was I just brought one example of, this is a little smart terminal that's semi-smart. So in other words, you can add a whole list of items in here, and you can walk up to your client and you can, ring in their order, and the receipt's going to print out what they bought. The receipt is also going to give you an option to email or text it. You can join a loyalty program. There's all kinds of really nifty ways you can use a terminal like this. I also, well, I just brought a little brochure just to remind me of some of the benefits of using a point of sale system is being able to log in remotely and look at real-time sales and real-time reporting and inventory tracking, a customer database, employee management. They can clock in, clock out. You can do schedule through the point of sale. You can do loyalty and text marketing, and you can do purchase orders for your vendors. You can pay commissions. You can run everything through one little point of sale. And that's what I love to do, is help them find the right one for them.
Right. Do you find there's a lot of places that should be using this that are still not using this types of technology?
100% of the time. A lot of the time though, it's, the owner's old school, and I just like, using a cash register, and and you know what, if you want to use a register, fine. I can still a lot of times save the money. And when they're ready to take that next step, I'm more than happy to help them. And I do my own installs and I do my own training. And, I'm the local girl that literally walks away from a family function on the 4th of July and drives, 30 minutes away to go help somebody because, that's how I earn my income. You answer the phone when they need you and you show up when they need you.
Right, right. That's awesome. Those are all great tips and things that I'd never really paid attention to before.
And there's one more thing too. A lot of people should be using a virtual terminal and they're not. So a virtual terminal is, you're not even getting a real point of sale. You're logging into a portal, which is like a website. Well, it's a secure portal, which is essentially a website. You're logging in there and you're doing your invoice there. Now you can email the invoice. You could take the payment right here and now. You could set up recurring billing. You could do all kinds of things with this virtual terminal. And you're going to save money using that virtual terminal because you're able to add additional information to the transaction. So I didn't really talk about the pricing aspect of credit card processing, but pricing is tied to risk. If the card is present, you're at the lowest risk of it being fake, right? But if the card is not present, you want to add as much information to that transaction as possible. And if you're a business selling to another business, like manufacturing as an example, they pay literally nearly 1% more than they should if they're not adding the extra information. And that would be things like purchase order numbers, right? Because the processing world wants everything to go automated. They don't want somebody to call and say, what is this transaction? I don't recognize this one. That slows everything down.
Right.
And chargebacks are even worse. So if we can add the additional information to the transaction, when the accounts payable person sees, well, that's purchase order number, blah, blah, blah. Now I can see what you ordered and match up the company. They pay it without any question.
That's a detailed world.
It is. That's a lot of information. We just got done talking about the IT and the numbers and the programming.
And our brains are like blown
yep.
a little bit here. It's going to be a blown month, John. We're just, our brains are going to be overflowed with IT.
Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
And I look forward to your continued success. And with that, we are going to send it over to Kim for a marketing moment.
Look at the flash I get for the marketing moment. I just love it. Look who's knocking.
Take it away, Kim.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. Today we're going to talk about in our marketing moment, we are going to talk about creating a social media strategy. So this can be really overwhelming and daunting and unsure start for many businesses. First thing you should do is think about what you want to gain from social media. Are you looking to gain sales? Are you looking to build relationships? Are you looking to find new clients? Determine and define what that goal is before you get started. And then define where your target audience is where and when they're spending their time online. So if you're a restaurant and someone's planning their dinner, are you going to post your information at dinner time, or are you going to post it while they're online at lunch thinking about how hungry they are for dinner? And then one great tactic is to view your competition's social media and see what they're doing, see what you like that they're doing and what you don't like that they're doing, and kind of build your social media strategy from there. There is no harm in seeing what others are doing and what's working and what's not. Then choose the platforms that will be a best fit for your business. John's doing a little dance. He's doing a stretchy dance. Sorry. What's the best fit for your business? So if you're a restaurant, LinkedIn might not be the best place for you to post your restaurant specials. You might look to connect with other restaurant owners, but is that where you want to spend the majority of your time online? Then create a content calendar and stick with it so you can be consistent in your posting. Again, social media marketing can be really intimidating for small businesses. Shameless plug, Tracy and I have a class for that if you want to do your own and you don't want to hire a social media manager. Totally understandable and acceptable. We have a monthly class for that. And that's it for the marketing moment.
Thanks, Kim.
I'm so tempted to go over here and start doing things to make you laugh so you lose your concentration. But then he took my idea and he did it anyways.
I was just stretching.
There's a lot of stretching happening there.
A lot of stretching.
Well, we are off to our next guest.
We are.
Been in the industry for the last 15 years. Started. Are you starting with the first slide?
Yeah.
Okay. Doug's been in the industry for in the last 15 years, started working help desk for a managed service provider and worked up to a systems engineer. Lastly, worked as a system administrator for a major real estate company. June of 2021, he started working as an account executive for OneClick.
And he's not just a salesperson. He works to help companies reduce costs, increase productivity, and in his free time volunteers with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, an organization that helps build beds for kids. That's a great organization to be a part of.
He's very active in it too.
And there's about 250 chapters across the U.S.
That's amazing. So are you a woodworker and that's where you got into it, a carpenter?
Well, the quick short version is, so Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs had a show on Facebook and he showed this organization, and the organization then blew up across the U.S. of people starting chapters. Someone started one in the Racine and Kenosha area. I just started going to every one of them, and the president was like, hey, you're here all the time. Do you want to be a part of our core team that does this? And so now I'm on that core team for the Racine and Kenosha area.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how many beds did you build last year?
Last year, I don't know, but we just hit a milestone. In 4 years, we've done 1,000 beds we've delivered.
That is amazing.
And that's the bed, the mattress, the comforter, sheets, and a pillow, the whole setup.
And where do these beds go? Who are they for?
Basically, we just have families that have a need. There's kids that just are sleeping on couches, floors, piles of clothes. They submit a request on the SHP website, and we get those requests, and we try to fill them as fast as we can.
That's a great cause. That's a great cause. Thank you for doing that for the community. That's fantastic.
Big question of the day. What's your love-hate relationship with IT? You must love it.
In a way, I kind of do. I'm one of those people that I started when I was about 5. I
Taking apart the toaster.
I sat on my dad's lap. We had an Apple IIe, and he would, say, okay, hit the space bar, okay, hit the enter key, and I would start doing those things. And back then you had to enter commands to start a program for those things. So that's how I started. And just have always used computers almost every day in my life and those things, and just kind of continued on. And I'm always the type of person that likes helping people. So I got into IT, helping the frustrated people that, having problems getting their computer to work the right way. And just always trying to get people to take that step back, take a deep breath, explain to me what you're trying to do, and then show me the error you're getting. Okay, here's how I think we can fix it. And then people are like, oh my God, you're such a lifesaver. And I'm like, just, get through one step at a time. So that's all it takes sometimes.
You're a problem solver.
I try to be.
2 problem solvers today. Shannon does the same thing. She just solves all the point of sale problems and teaches them. It sounds like you're doing the same thing, but different subjects. So what are the biggest security risks businesses are facing and how are you addressing them?
Probably the biggest risk that I come across is I go into these businesses, and I've been in lawyers' offices, I have been in nursing homes and different things, and I go in and there is the lowest grade home style router sitting there with that has no security. All they did was plug it in and it starts working, so there's really no protection for their network. We go in and we say, look, and especially some of these places, the nursing home, I said, well, right now in a way, you're not being HIPAA compliant. You're not protecting your clients.
Oh, wow.
And the same thing with the lawyer's office. I said, and I always tell people, I don't care if you buy it from me or if you buy it from someone else. These are some of the things we're suggesting you do so that you want your clients to trust you. This is kind of a deal breaker if they were to find out you're not protecting your network. So we recommend, professional grade equipment. We don't always go in and say, okay, here's a $5,000, firewall. You need these things. We try to be cost effective. And we say, okay, for a business your size, this is a piece of equipment that is sufficient to do the job, that will protect you and do what you need it to do without breaking the budget.
So one thing I know about security, one of the few things that I know is that phishing seems to be pretty prevalent in the world right now. So how do people protect themselves from phishing, or what can we do to just be a little bit safer in the world?
Well, again, it's one of those things that comes down to training and teaching. There's programs out there that you can have your employees go through to learn things to watch out for in the emails that they receive or things that they're doing online. Sometimes actually the worst right now is someone actually gets hacked. Those hackers use their account to send out additional emails that are saying, hey, to look at this document, click here. Well, then it takes you to a screen that's saying, oh, you got to log in with Office 365. But if you're not paying attention and don't look at the address to where the page is actually going to, and you just start logging in, well, now the hackers have got your information and they're going to do the same thing to your contacts. So it's that taking that half step back, looking at where the link is actually pointing to. And usually the quickest trick with that is you just take your mouse pointer, go over the link with the mouse, and a second or two later, it'll pop up and it'll show you it's going to website xyz.com instead of where you think it's supposed to go. And so something should point that out there. Or of course the whole well, you have a FedEx package coming, click here and make, confirm its delivery, and going, didn't order anything, then why would you be getting a FedEx notification?
And that's terrible because there's so many people out there that are just not internet savvy. They get a text on their phone and they go, oh, did I have something? And then they click on it, and then it's so easy to get misled.
A couple of the big ones, we should probably talk about some of the big ones that are out there. I know McAfee Security, or the Norton antivirus, there seems to always be an email that comes through that says, please renew. So that's one. Amazon, Facebook, all of the big ones, you change your password.
Well, and
that's
they
another.
will target businesses and they'll try to, and they actually do what they call social media targeting. So they will look at a business, they will see who works for a business, look at the LinkedIn profiles, and they will send those invoices to the people that work in the financing department. And I've seen probably 8 out of 10 times the bill just gets paid. Nobody, double checks and says, hey, do we actually use this? Are we using Norton? Is this a legitimate bill? They just pay it, and that's how they're getting money out of it. They're free money for them because the business didn't have a secondary check in place to say, is this a legitimate charge?
Yeah, and when you're in business and you have multiples of these little invoices coming at you constantly for something that renews every month or once a year, you totally forget about it. Do I even have do I even use that anymore?
Right.
Business owners really need to pay attention to what they're paying.
And that's a benefit to using, what we do is being what they call a managed service provider. You pay us a monthly fee and we handle all of the IT stuff. So your antivirus comes from us. So anything that comes up IT related, you're getting a separate bill. You reach out to us and say, hey, is this something that we're already doing, or is this real? Is this fake?
Yeah.
And we can touch on that and say, no, you already have antivirus. You're not using Norton. You don't need to pay that.
Mm-hmm.
That's some great tips there.
It
So
is.
what has changed in the world of voice over IP phones, and how has the pandemic played a factor? You do a lot with the phone stuff.
I do quite a bit with phones. What's changed a lot is, I mean, the technology has massively improved. I hear stories so many times. I stop in a business. Well, we tried the whole voice over IP thing like 5 years ago, and it sounded horrible, and I was in a water tunnel, and you know, we have devices that we put in place on a network now to help compensate for that. There's, because of some of the firewalls in place, sometimes certain channels get blocked, things like that. So but the technology has improved, the speed of the internet has massively improved, which helps. So there's a lot of factors that it's become a great thing. And now with a lot of voice over IP systems, people can actually still work from home, but it looks like they're calling from the office. So their office number shows up when they're dialing someone else, but they're sitting behind a laptop at home, and nobody would be the wiser unless the dog barks or the kid starts crying.
Yeah,
Technology is great.
That quote is perfect. Like our quote of the day is constantly changing. And so people don't realize how much technology has really improved in the last few years. And if you thought you had problems before, you should really recheck it, because things have changed a lot.
Yeah. I tried voice over internet a very long time ago, I think when it first came out. And it didn't work so good. So it's glad to hear that it's improving.
So Doug, do you have any specials or any events or anything to do with your side thing with the beds? Do you have anything coming up that you want to share with our audience today?
So a couple quick things. One is, if anybody decides to reach out to me through OneClick, what we can do as a special to people that have watched this show, any services that we provide, we can do 25% off the first month that they sign up. A lot of our services don't even have contracts, so they can try it, get a good deal. We always look at that as a way to, not having contracts as a way to earn people's business every month. As far as things going on, like Shannon mentioned, there's always a number of networking events. I do run my own networking breakfast in the Kenosha area. We meet at the Mad Rooster, today's Tuesday, so tomorrow morning, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month at 7:30. Everybody is always welcome. And as far as Sleep in Heavenly Peace, if anybody ever wants to make any kind of financial donation, there's sleepinheavenlypeace.org. They can always make a donation. They can make it to any chapter that they want, or the whole organization. Like Lowe's is one of our major partners. They donate millions of dollars, and then that gets distributed over all the chapters throughout the year. So all the money comes in, gets distributed out. And if anybody feels the need that they want to, Milwaukee is desperately in need for a chapter. Someone needs to start a chapter in Milwaukee. That's a massive need we still have. We get requests all the time, and we have currently about 80 kids on our waiting list just in the Kenosha and Racine area. And so we can't even help others outside of our network because nobody has done anything in Milwaukee yet either.
It's a good thing to put out there.
That is, put that energy out there and see how we can make that happen. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was very informative. And once again, we want to remind everybody about the Connect Show Mastermind. And this month, we're talking about automation, automating everything. How was last week?
Yes. Last week was great. We talked about, is it Zapier or Zapier, IT people?
I think Zapier.
Zapier.
Yep.
Zaps?
Zaps.
Zapier.
Zaps,
So
I
we
love it.
completed 2 Zaps for 2 people that they were stuck on them, and we were able to figure them out. So hopefully they are off on the right track. But literally, that was a great mastermind event. We really dove into that product and learned a lot about all the different ways it works. And they've totally updated their website in the last week. Like, everything's changed. It looks really cool.
Yeah. Wonderful. Zap is such a good way to make things happen and give you more time. It's a moneymaker. Thanks everybody for coming today. We really appreciate it.
And next week we have Matt Furlot and Rajiv. I think it's Rajiv.
We're gonna have to Google the pronunciation. and this is a really good one.
And he just told it to me a couple days ago, and I've
But
already
we have a
forgot.
graphic. We have a graphic. We can put it up there for 8A next week.
All about some more IT stuff.
Yes.
Matt does a lot with computer refurbishing. And Rajiv, he's gonna shoot me for misspelling his word or name like that, but that's okay. I know him well. He does a lot with securing your how you're looking online, so he can remove Google reviews for you and do all sorts of great stuff. He is a guy to pay attention to.
This is going to be.
It's going to be a great show.
This is going to be a really fun month. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up this week and helping us keep this show running smoothly.
As he's like stuttering.
Need coffee and food. Thank you.
So thanks everybody for coming today, and please like and subscribe if you're on social media. Join our website. We have a newsletter that goes out every Monday morning to tell you about the new show, so hop on that if you're not on that, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week. Thanks for joining us on the Connect Show.